And here we are. We are live. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the Ryan Stick Show. Hey, I have a theme song. I guess I should play that.
Ryan Stick Show.
I am here with an icon. One of my favorite. I got to tell you, one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies is Part 5, and it's kind of because it doesn't have the real Jason in it. The usual Friday fan doesn't like it, but I'm also a fan of. I'm also a fan of Halloween 3. And I like it when franchises kind of like step out of their box, and you know, I would rather be, I would rather be confused than disinterested. And I
Right.
really liked what they did in Part 5. And although you were only on screen for just a little bit, all the fan sites, every Friday the 13th fan I talked to, you've made a large impression on them, like when you were on screen. And now you've taken it and you become a director of this incredible new movie, Fanboy 13, in which a
13
psychotic
Fanboy.
13 fanboy. There you go. Dyslexia. Thank you. If Jason doesn't kill me, dyslexia will. Yeah. So 13 fanboy, in which a psychotic Friday the 13th fan kind of goes nuts and takes out a pivotal cast members of the franchise.
Mhm.
Now, it's amazing if you want to look at it in a Friday verse type of way. You're the first one that really has ever had this many consistent characters from different films all in the same story, even though they're
Right.
playing themselves. How we're gonna talk a little bit about Friday the 13th, a new beginning, but tell me about how the heck does 13 fanboy come to you? Because this is an amazing idea.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, 13 Fanboy is about a fan who has a deadly obsession for several members of the Friday the 13th franchise, but it also goes over into Halloween. So we have Dee Wallace. She's our lead. She's from Halloween, E.T., Cujo. What has she not been in? I mean, she's been in so many different things. The Howling. Anyway, it came about because my producing partner, Joel Paul Reisig, we were talking about a different film that we were considering doing. And that film was completely not horror related at the time. But I had been looking for something horror related for the fans because they'd been asking me to do something for them. And he just asked me, he said, well, what's it like? What are horror fans like? What is it like going to the conventions, that sort of thing? And I said, well, I mean, horror fans are kind of a lot of They're big blasts. They're fun. They're like a bunch of kids who dress up for Halloween. And, it's just, they're really cool people. He goes, are there any scary ones? I'm like, no, not really. Haven't had too much of that. He goes, well, come on. Has anything scary happened? I said, well, okay. I said I couldn't really say that this was fan related, but kind of seemed that way. I got a message on Facebook Messenger that said, wouldn't it be cool if you died in real life like you died in Friday the 13th?
Yikes.
Like, yikes. No. I was thinking, go to sleep in my, late as an old lady in my bed. Not that. And so I blocked that person. Nothing came of it. As far as I know, I don't have any more contact with that person. Then the other one, though, came to my telephone, my text message on my phone. And just to set the scene a little bit, I'm sitting alone in my office. It's late at night. I have French doors. And so it's just black out there for me. And I have one light on. And I get a message that says, I'm watching you. Well, it's entirely possible. Because you know how it is when you have a light on in a house, they really can see you from outside. And then I get 3 more texts, and it basically makes it clear that the person is pretending to be Jason and that he's there with the intent to kill me. And that one really unnerved me because it was my personal phone. And on that one, I blocked the person again. No more problems. So was it a fan, or it could have been somebody else who was just playing a joke, right? I have no idea, but that's not really very funny.
Yeah.
And so anyway, Joel, my producing partner, said, that's our movie. And I was
Wow.
like, No. Perhaps you're mistaken. That's real life. I'm looking for a make-believe ghost that couldn't possibly be real, that we can have some great booze scares with.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking around in the parking lot going, is someone there? And it took me about 4 or 5 nights of being pretty distressed about the situation, thinking about, do we do this film? Do we do this film? And I was like, yeah, if it scares me this much, let's do it.
Okay.
And is that noise you or is it me?
Oh, the noise. It's probably the music. I could turn that down.
Oh, okay. As long
Yeah.
as I was worried that I have several things up that I was doing, I was like, I hope I didn't have some music up from,
No, no, of
another
course not.
thing that was coming through. So
No, please continue your horrifying story.
yeah, so that's what we decided to do. We
Yeah.
just decided to go for it, and we jumped off the cliff and immediately starting putting together a highly detailed script, and now we're here. I couldn't be more thrilled.
Something that strikes me really cool is that as a Friday fan, obviously, even though actually I just shout out to Spirit Halloween. This is the second true Jason shirt I've ever actually had. It's really cool to see Corey Feldman and Kane Hodder in the same movie because there's so many sequels removed from each other that you would never
Right.
think that you would see them in the same film together.
Right.
And only in comic book form has those, likenesses have ever been, in the same place. And it makes me, kind of makes me giggle thinking about Kane Hodder chasing Corey Feldman around. But what can you do? Who said yes immediately when you pitched this idea to them? Like, were you shy to reach out to all these people from the franchise, or was it like
I'm definitely
easy?
not shy.
Nice.
Well, Tracy Savage said yes right away. Dee Wallace said yes right away.
Okay.
Dee Wallace read the script and she goes, "Oh my gosh, why hasn't somebody else thought of this?" Yes, I'm in. And so that was wonderful. Everybody, it took some people, it took a little bit because I wasn't just asking them, come and play a character in my film who is being stalked by an obsessed fan. I said, come and be in my movie and play yourself.
Okay.
As Tracy Savage, a woman who was in Friday the 13th, who's being stalked.
No.
Dee, play someone who is a horror icon and being stalked by it. And that right there, I think frightened people more than anything.
Okay.
Was the idea that they were playing themselves as opposed to a character. And
That's
I have
true.
to admit, it bothered me too. So when people talked about their reservations, and I'm like, I get you. I had the same ones before I decided to do it. I felt the same way. And you may know that Adrienne King, we had approached her to be a part of the cast, but she had an obsessed fan in real life, a stalker in real life.
Yeah.
And so it was just a little bit too close for comfort for her.
Yeah, of course.
And so I totally understand that. But believe it or not, after I started casting and I talked to Laura Park Lincoln, the final girl in part 7, she's in it as well.
Oh, sweet. With the powers. Yeah. With the powers. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, she was stalked for 6.5 years.
Oh, God. Really?
Yes. And then Judy Aronson also had a stalker. So kind of strange, huh?
Kind of strange. It's so I'm glad some of the cast decided to curb their enthusiasm and decide to comfortably play themselves on screen.
Right.
But I can imagine from an actor's perspective, sometimes people are insecure and they escape into characters. So escaping in a character that's playing themselves and for humor's sake, not the best way.
Right.
But it takes a lot of confidence to be able to make fun of yourself. So I'm really glad that you assembled the mighty Avengers that you have to put this film together. How long has this film been done for? Because I know the pandemic has just knocked everyone's off their schedule, and
We were slowed down by a good 9 months
that's a long
because of the
time.
pandemic.
That is a human
Now,
being.
we
Yeah.
were slowed down a little bit too in the editing room. Luckily, we were completely finished filming. So we
Okay.
didn't have to worry about that. So we had everything that we needed. And then, though, in the editing room, we had a little more juggling to do,
Okay.
for that. But overall, I think this is the perfect time to release. So, and not that I'm saying that the pandemic helped us, because I certainly would rather have not had the pandemic.
Of course.
However, I think it's a great time for us to get this out there. I think people are excited about being out and about again, and hopefully, lots of people will really enjoy it. It's something that I made specifically for the fans, and so
Clearly.
you know how you feel when you're like, I got a present for you, and you're like, oh, please, I hope they like it.
Well, so far, my friend Kat, who is beautiful, smart, and is one of those people that you could drop on a desert island, and she will have crafted a plane with coconuts that didn't exist before she arrived at said desert island, and would fly everybody home twice. Like she's like one of those brilliant people that would have been final girls, and
Right.
she is a huge Friday the 13th fan, and she is also a burlesque dancer by the name of Alice Ocean,
Oh,
and
I
she
gotta meet this person. You gotta
yeah,
introduce us. This sounds like the
absolutely.
rockin' woman.
Hell yeah. Oh, you and Kat would get along great. She when I showed her the trailer, because I saw your trailer and naturally, as a Friday fan, just freaked out and started sharing it. I think her exact words were, "I am dead," because she's like, when you don't know 13 Fanboy is coming and then it
Mhm.
exists, there has to be some sort of like rush you have when you were not expecting something, because we live in a world where we know everything coming out that's going to entertain us
Right.
years in advance.
Right.
So your movie came to me kind of like the first time I ever heard Metallica, like on a friend's beatbox back in the day. I didn't know I was going to get my ass kicked by music. So it was the same thing with the visual equivalent of your trailer. It is so nice to see that this film exists, because like her, I love the franchise, but the actual franchise has such a lack of continuity that it's
Mhm.
nice to see that your film is actually that continuity. It's the only time it really acknowledges uh, Tommy Jarvis and Kane Hodder's legacy too. You know what I mean? Like, so that's a
Fantastic.
really fun way to look at it.
Thank
Um,
you. I'm so happy. That makes me so happy. That's what I want.
Absolutely. I gotta ask you some questions about Friday the 13th Part Five, because it's
Mhm.
such a new beginning. It's one of the first ones to rent. I rented part five first, then part seven first, then five. I mentioned to you that I'm not good at counting, so obviously that's I just don't know my Roman numerals. I was at
Right.
the mercy of the video store to tell me which one was in order, and clearly the clerk fucked up. But I saw part five, and it's just such a cool back to who did it, because you don't know if
Right.
Jason's dead or not. And
Right.
ever since his mom got offed, you were pretty sure that it's just the hulking giant guy in a ski mask coming to kill everybody. So I
Right.
kind of like the lucid. I kind of like the dreamlike take on it, and
Mhm.
the twist at the end. Like, I'm sure fans seeing it in the theater, where you wait a year or two to see everything,
Mhm.
was probably like, yeah. But as a guy who could just rent part six the next day, I absolutely adored it, and
Right.
a very unique take, and such interesting characters,
Mhm.
because like especially the guy who kills the kid with the axe,
Right.
like that's more scary to me than Jason. Like, I'm like,
Oh,
Jason can't
right.
exist, but that axe wielding psycho of a temper certainly can.
Mhm.
What was the
Well,
attitude on set back then? Like, was it just like, oh, we're making another one, or did you guys all know you're going to go kind of do something kind of original?
we didn't know what the twist was going to be.
Mm,
I do. I would say that that was definitely a surprise. That was kept very top secret. Of course, you have to, because you want that to come out later.
yeah.
I have to say though, um, two things. One, I think that the one place that part 5 missed the boat was with Vic, because he was such a in the film itself, you saw him, he was so frightening that if they had left him out there so you didn't know if it was him or not, that I think would have upped the notch on the who done it, you
For
know.
sure.
And so I would have liked to have really seen that. But honestly, now I don't hear anybody who really gets too upset that Jason was in it. I know there are people out there.
Hmm.
I should say I hear a trick a little bit here and there, but I really don't see too much of that.
Okay.
And when I went to the premiere, of course, for Friday the 13th, but then I decided I wanted to go to the movies where I could see a general audience. Because at a premiere, it tends to be the people in the industry and people in the film and their friends and family. And so it's a different feeling.
A little bit of a bias. Yeah.
Tell you, right. I have to tell you, the response in the theater was absolutely fantastic. It was not filled with people who were angry about the ending. In fact,
Yeah.
there was cheering and carrying on, the normal things in a Friday the 13th movie, and the boo scares and all of that. I mean, people were having a good time. And
Yeah.
so that was really neat for me. I really didn't know that there was anything controversial for several years, because I never heard any kind of blowback toward me. I know that Melanie did, and I know that Dick Whean did,
Okay.
but I never did. So I don't know. I don't see it now. And now I feel like we have a really, really strong cult following.
For sure. Oh yeah, there's tons of people that can really appreciate it after the fact.
Hmm.
Same thing with Halloween 3. I mean,
Hmm.
back in the day, like that was like, oh my god, we messed up so bad. I'm like, it's a really cool movie. And even
Right.
this year they're selling a mass. They're really appreciating it.
Hmm.
I gotta say, so you're seeing, there's a love scene in part 5.
Hmm.
And you just mentioned that you saw the movie with a general audience. Did
Hmm.
you leave? Did you leave the cinema, or kind of wait for your scene to come up, to hear an audience reaction towards you? Because I'm kind of a shy boy, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I would have had my ear to the ground to me. Like, I wonder if they're gonna dig me when I'm nude. Like, yeah.
Actually, I didn't go to really see how people responded to me. I wanted
Okay.
to see how they responded to the film in general. I
Cool.
just picked a little seat in the back corner and
Nice.
just sat back and kind of watched to see how people were. They loved it. They absolutely loved it.
Awesome. I wish your character was in the movie more often, actually, because it's some of the characters, like, you're a fan favorite. Like,
Thank you.
when people talk about Friday the 13th Part 5, you're definitely a highlight. And
Thank you.
it's are you in your own movie at all, by the way?
I am. I
Excellent. That would have been a shame. I hope you're in it more than you were in Part 5, though. Like, I know you're busy behind the
I,
camera, but
since I was directing, I did not put myself in a super big role or anything, but it's a very
yeah.
good and meaty role.
Okay.
And I'm really happy with it. I like it a lot. So
Excellent. So I was watching all these great documentaries about, Crystal Lake memories, and
mhm,
his name was Jason. And there's this kind of like, every movie when it finishes, they always talk about how much they had to cut out and stuff.
mhm.
Was there ever a version of the movie you saw that was, in fact, actually longer and more full of more gore before the censors butchered it?
For Friday the 13th
Yeah, for
and
part
part
5.
5, I
Yeah.
I did not see one. I know that there were some things that were cut out, but I
Hmm.
also know that there was a lot of misinformation. So I'm
Okay.
going to assume, since there was misinformation on mine, there may have been on some on the others. But for me, a lot of people said that they actually showed the garden shears going through my eyes, and that was cut because of censors. That's absolutely not true. It was
Okay.
not cut because it never happened. If they were to do that, they would have had to make a full head for me, and they would have had to, so that they could have put the garden shears through. and that prosthetic was never made. I did go in to get a prosthetic made, and basically think of it like just like think of a very cold kind of rubber clay type substance, maybe more rubbery. And then
You're
it
pretty much
goes to
describing my
here.
skin. Yeah.
It comes to here and around here. So,
Mm.
because what they're trying to do is to get the impression for inside of here, so they
Yeah.
could pour and make the little mask and have they had a little broken bone right here. And so all of that had to be made. And if they were going to do the whole thing with the garden shears through the eyes, they would have had to make an entire head.
Yeah, of course.
Never happened. So now, do I think they did cut something? I know they did, because I've talked to Tiffany Helm,
Yeah.
who played Violet, and initially Danny wanted to have her stabbed right through the vagina, and they did that, and then they did a second one with her just being stabbed in the gut, like
Okay.
they did what they ended up showing, because that was not allowed for the censors.
Danny sounds like an interesting dude. It takes
he was really nice to me, I have to say.
Well, that's really cool because like we said before, you have a love scene and stuff like that. But there's like, when I watch a documentary on the entire franchise, there's so many people that are like, "Oh yeah, we had such a terrible time. We were in the water so long," and then you have stories like yours that says, "No, he was really nice to me," and stuff like that. So
right.
it's all from one's perspective.
Right. Well, and personalities are different. Not everybody is going to get along with everybody, and it's normal on a large set like that some people are going to have friction and some people aren't. For me, it was a really good experience, and I didn't really have a moment of grief from Danny.
Awesome. So all these years after being immortalized on screen, when did you kind of realize that this movie was a big deal and people started to recognize you, not in the scary texting you ways, but the general ways?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I did know that Friday the 13th were a big deal.
Yeah.
Did I understand that I had a really strong fan base? I really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was started to really understand it once the internet came around, because then you could see all the fans. And then when I started going to conventions and stuff. And so there isn't a day that goes by that I'm not contacted by a handful of fans.
Perfect.
So that's a different, that I didn't expect. I'm 60. I just turned 60 in July. And
could have fooled me.
I can't thank you. I wish.
I'm 30. I'm 30. I'm 37 and a half. I'm told I look a little younger than that.
You definitely look younger than that. I would not have guessed that one.
Yeah.
But I think that I didn't know that I was going to have a fan base like that. I thought occasionally there might be somebody here or there, but no, not the way. And I guess it turned out that Friday the 13th is so much bigger than I really realized early on, especially going to the conventions and seeing how much the fans love the series.
Absolutely. Well, that's kind of good in a way, though, to kind of like have this fame and notoriety in a world where you didn't really know it existed. Because now younger people kind of base their success and almost their emotion with complete straight up validation after they do everything by like literally hearts and likes. And I remember when I first started editing anything together, I was so jazzed to show fourth friends at a party. And now I'm like studying the numbers, and if it doesn't get hundreds and thousands of views for some reason, it's like it almost feels like it's not as special, and that's ridiculous.
Right.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
Right. I know. I completely understand that. It is interesting to see how that's changed. It's got to be difficult. I feel bad for really young kids who are growing up and having all their growing pains today. and they're making those mistakes online instead of just the 4 friends at the party. They're like
Yeah. It's
showing
like
their butt to the whole world, and I'm like, "Oh,
it's like
honey."
crapping your pants when you're 6 and putting it on Instagram or something. You're like, "Stop doing
Right.
this. No,
Don't go there. You're
don't go
right.
there." Yeah. Okay, so 13 Fanboys coming out October 22nd, and that's right around the corner in select
Yes.
theaters.
Yes.
But also tell everybody like how this movie is also going to be online. It's going to be available for like
Right.
video on demand. Like where can people find it online? Like
Right.
myself.
One of the best places to go to 13fanboy.com. And on there, we'll have the VOD platforms and the theaters that it's going to be at. We will have DVDs about 2 months after the release of the film. I
Sick.
can't say for sure when they're coming out yet because I don't have a solid date yet. But it should be, I was told by the distributor that it should be about 2 weeks or 2 months out. But I'll try and run through a handful of them. I know that we're going to be on Vudu. I know Google Play, Xbox, Amazon. There's a very large company that's called In Demand that has everything like Comcast and Cox and all those big ones where you do pay-per-view kind of stuff on it. And there's several other platforms. iTunes is a big one. Then let's see. Then in the theaters, I'm not going to remember all of the cities, but I know I have LA, I have Orange County, I have Minneapolis, Chicago, we have Tucson, Phoenix, we have Albuquerque, New Orleans. There's more. Lexington, Kentucky.
I'm impressed you know this many for what it's worth.
Thank you.
Yeah, like that's
Thank
a lot of information to remember. Absolutely.
Thank you.
But there must be social sites that people just go to whenever they want to see a full schedule to relieve you of, having to answer this question a
I
zillion
would
times.
definitely go to 13fanboy.com because that's going to be your most solid. In the social areas, you're going to have to find the links.
Yeah, of course.
And so I do have Deborah Voorhees Share Horror Group. That's on Facebook.
I'm a happy member now. Yeah.
Yay, thank you.
No
I
problem.
have a 13 Fanboy page on there. And then I have my personal page. I'm right at 5,000. So, but you can follow me because I've left it public.
Okay.
And then I'm just getting Twitter down. I'm feeling so proud of myself. And so I have 2 Twitter ones for 13 Fanboy and one for Deborah Voorhees. You can follow me there. And I barely understand Instagram, but I do have 2 things on there, but I'm hardly on there because I'm so confused. But I have somebody who has volunteered to help me understand it better because it seems so hard because it's like, I don't really want to take a picture every time I turn around just to post something.
Yeah.
I want to just grab an image and post it. And I know you can, but it just always seems like it's so awkward and so difficult to do. When I grab something off my computer, I can't just grab it and throw it in there. I got to somehow get it to my phone, and it just takes so damn long.
Yeah, I know. It's you kind of get used to it after a while, but in general, yeah. Like when I met my girlfriend, and I have been together 10.5 years, and when I met her, she was so much more not phone centric, but her knowledge of phones was so much stronger than mine. And I was kind of like, "What are you doing on your phone all the time?" And like now I'm way worse than she is, but sometimes it's very necessary when promoting. It's a necessary evil. But speaking of necessary evils, I am so glad that 13 Fanboy exists. I can't keep you all night because I know that you have so much to do. Your movie's coming out in 5 minutes. You're doing interviews all the time.
Right.
And
very much, yeah.
And everybody here, which is me, am both happy and honored to have spoken to you tonight. This is absolutely lovely. Before you go, I got to ask you 2 questions. Number 1, besides the movie that you were in, Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, of course, you probably had to familiarize yourself with the franchise while making this movie and getting familiar with the characters. What is your other favorite movie in the franchise besides A New Beginning? And and who is your favorite Jason?
Oh gosh. Okay. First, I'd have to go for the first one because I've got to give the props to the first one that made it what it is. Because without that one, nothing would count. And then, gosh, favorite Jason. There's no way I could pick. Absolutely no way. But CJ Graham and Kane Hodder, those are my two babies.
There you go. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching this broadcast. Like we said, follow Deborah on all her socials. Go to 13fanboy.com to see this amazing movie on October 22nd. It's just around the corner. Let's make this Halloween a killer. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, have yourselves a good night, everybody. This has been great. Thanks again. Oh, and do you have a message for the fan? Do you have a message for the fans, like a thank you or anything like that?
Yes,
Usually we do this.
yes, super. I want to thank everybody who has supported and helped get the word out. You guys are awesome. This is a present from me to you. I hope you love it. Take care. Hugs and kills, guys.
Hugs and kills. I like that. All right. Bye,
It's
everyone.
my signature.
Nice.